Juve's Camille is excellent, and he really came on to the radar of so many top laners after his Worlds performance. When he was getting solo kills left, right, and center, his echo was a thing of beauty, and now he's had a lot of great performances, but also some that leave a lot to be desired.
From Australia.
Crown fighting.
Crown fighting, that's cool. Samsung win. See if they can actually win. I think there's a pretty good chance for them tonight.
They haven't lost here in Nexon Arena, so I would put all my eggs on their basket.
I like the Team Liquid hat too that he's rocking with the crown sign.
Sending mixed signals here in terms of, you like a good team, but what about where do you draw the lines for fan?
I mean, they've got similar colors, right? Got some blue in there.
That's like
both
saying,
these teams.
You know, I don't watch football right now, but I did watch it in 2007. So it's like liking the Patriots of 2007 and the Texans of 2007. It's just, where are you at?
You got to choose a side. But the sign was a lot cooler than the hat, so I'll give it to Crown on this one. But again, Callista and Caitlyn are becoming pretty consistent bans, and lots of targeting on the side of Ever8 towards Crown.
That lets Elise slide through, and Malrang in their match against BBQ was popping off on Elise, just doing so much damage. He has shown that he's capable of just taking over games by himself with that Elise. So Samsung risking that. I think that they probably value the Rek'Sai over the Elise, as Ambition did during Rift Rivals, and so many teams also preferred the Rek'Sai over anything else. But Longshu showed us last set how valuable Elise remains, and perhaps Ever will reassure us that she is still the queen of the jungle.
Yeah. The obvious Rek'Sai pick picked up here for Ambition on the side of Samsung. Now we're looking at what Ever8 wants to round out their composition with. They could try to go with more of an aggressive bottom lane. You see already the Xayah is picked up.
Not a wealth of AD carries to remain. For the most part, you would be having to go with Ashe or your hyper carries. And, you know, I haven't been too impressed with the Xayah lately. I really see more value into the Ashe. Xayah has so much intricacy to her kit that I find that a lot of players are still not at the level of mastery required to make the most out of her, whereas you have a pick like Ashe that is straightforward. You shoot the arrow, you kill whoever the arrow hits, and that's it. You shoot the hawk shot, you don't need to buy wards. If you weren't going to buy wards anyways, you might as well get them in your abilities. So
it's so much easier to layer the CC when you have an Ashe compared to a Xayah, right? I mean, and it still has really high carry potential when you get late game with the Ashe as well. So I definitely am on the same page with you. I definitely like that idea. And of course we're going to see Corki. This is another huge pick here all around the world.
It should be a sign that if Prey and Bang are prioritizing Ashe over nearly everything, maybe the rest of the world should be like, maybe Ashe seems pretty valuable, right? If these two guys are,
I heard those guys are pretty good at this game.
On the Ashe hype train, then perhaps everybody else should be as well. But Crown is on the Corki hype train after Rift Rivals, and you know it's going mid lane, and so far the composition packs a good early game as well as a solid mid to late if Crown gets to that point with a solid itemization.
Nara banned away from Juve. You were talking about that being one of the big picks for this top laner, and as they have not picked their top, looks like probably Ever8 will target that player, whereas, I mean, Ever8, they haven't had too much success, but most of their success when they get it comes off of either Malrang and Septed, so because Malrang already got his pick, might as well ban out Septed.
Yeah, now there might be also banning out Keen. It could be a Lucian ban onto the mid lane as a matchup against Corki, as we saw BDD take on last set, but Keen is a Lucian main in the top lane, so odd thing to say. And now Zyra not letting Core JJ get his hands on that pick, as we saw the devastation that Zyra and Varus can do time and time again, and I like the time can't rotation here from Samsung. Works well with Varus as well as Corki, just protecting your carries, and especially when you're dealing with that single target CC that forces so much of Ever to follow through. You got Hook, you've got the Cocoon. If you can just devour that target, while the CC gets layered, then you can mitigate so much of the pick potential that Ever is clearly going for.
Well, they need to round out their picks here, and thinking about a Kassadin up against this poke-heavy Corki from the side of Crown. I haven't personally seen this matchup too often, and the timer is going to tick down, so we will be seeing the Kassadin versus Corki in the mid lane. It's
fine for the Corki here, especially because he's likely going to have to take Cleanse into the Elise as well as the Thresh. The shield from Kassadin, as Corki's now 80% magic damage even on his auto attacks, is going to help him through the laning phase. And then once Corki starts getting level 6, you can even alternate your skill order to put more points into force pulls, wave clear a little bit better. And when you get to the side lanes, then you can really see the wrath that this champion can bring to the Rift. And alongside of Renekton, you've got yourself a potent early game, and you're guaranteed scaling in the Kassadin.
Yeah, well, we were looking for some kind of tank on the side of Samsung, as they didn't really have much. I mean, they have Tom Kent's as like a pseudo tank, and Rek'Sai can build that way. So we are going to see the Shen up against the Renekton in the top lane. Just trying to survive, just trying to hold on for level 6 and make his presence known around the map.
And we might have seen the Shen regardless of Kassadin coming through, but it's also a great pick to deal with what Kassadin's going to try to do in the side lanes. If the game goes late, he's going to be able to assassinate Corki in a heartbeat. But when you have to consider Shen, no longer can Kassadin fully commit to these dives, to these engages, without the threat of a Stand United coming out, getting taunted and killed on the spot. So the Shen pick truly will mitigate the 1-3-1 that Ever is going to try to do, so long as Septit just doesn't get fed out of his mind. But with the difficulty that it's going to be with killing anybody near Tom Kent, Corki, and even Rek'Sai with Tunnel, I don't see Kassadin getting fed early anytime soon.
Yeah, and much of the way we were talking about Longju having to do some damage early with their composition, definitely seems like that for Ever once again. Lots of pick on the side. They need to make something happen in either top or the bottom lane. You know, use that cocoon with either the Thresh or the Renekton, make stuff happen. But I don't know, I like the kind of disengaged style that Samsung will have with their composition.
They can definitely disengage, but remember that they're not that mobile. Tom Kent is easy to gang up on, and Kassadin can chase you forever. So they have to be quite careful as the fights that they choose and where they choose to commit their abyssal voyages, as the collapse from Ever can always be devastating. And there you have Keen having to get ready, because he's going to be in a lot of pressure here, because he has to make this Renekton work when you have Elise on your side. Shutting down Cuvée early would put Ever in a favorable position in the mid game, and Cuvée knows he has to survive.
Staying alive, that's all he's got to do.
Sing it, baby. Don't stop now.
And then make sure that the rest of his team lives too. That's the second part of the verse.
I thought you were going off. Like, if you popped off here, we were doing karaoke. Not here, though. I would never sing on there like that.
We still haven't done karaoke, Crumbs. Maybe someday.
Yeah, because I only sing Creed.
Well, now that I know that we're not going to be doing karaoke, we'll let that one slide. I know Atlas might be into that. Perhaps you can go with him.
Well, my deep baritone voice gets picked up in all the devices and gives me 100% rating on the lyrics no matter what I say. So there's a reason why I do it.
Seems to be a good idea. Of course, if you guys are joining us late and you're wondering what the delay is, there seems to be some problem with the tournament realm where there's some lag. So what we have to do is do pick ban on the tournament realm and then just switch over and get the private game going, just blind pick all the champions that were picked, and then get into the game.
I tweeted about this earlier. There was a time, believe it or not, when you made a custom game, you did not have champion select available during custom games. So you had to do your draft on chat.
Yeah, I remember.
You're like, we pick Shen. We pick Renekton.
Did Renekton exist way back then?
Yeah, of course.
Really? Was he one of the earlier champs?
Actually, I don't remember.
I was thinking like Ryze or like Annie or Ashe. One of those. Alistair, Twisted Fate.
Name them all. Keep them.
How many did we start with? Like 12?
No, do not name them all. Let's go into the game.
Close enough. Either way, guys, game number 1 between Ever8 and the Samsung Galaxy is going to start right now.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Well, Samsung, understandably, with the bigger cheering crowd, but the winners, they're trying to do their best, shouting at the top of their lungs, "We us fighting."
All
See if it
cheers
works out for
always
them.
help.
Yeah. We got 5 Doran shields in this game, Crumbs.
Yeah, you know Casson has to start his D shield into the Corki. Sometimes some people get a bit frisky and go for the Dark Seal, sometimes even the Corruption Potion, but just playing it safe, the shield, never a bad idea. You always have teleport, so he's likely just going to base, go back for a Seal and a Potion to continue laning, unless he gets ahead early. Then you can just see the Catalyst popping off right away, and that would be disastrous for Samsung if Cassidy gets to go with that back and not go punished.
Starting blue here is Ambition. No shenanigans up in the top side, and no real deep vision at all from either of these teams. So kind of just a passive start from both of them, both starting the blue.
Yeah, it's curious. The bottom lane from Samsung will have some mana used, so they can infer that Rek'Sai started on this side, but no telltale on the side of Ever. The bottom lane did make it early, but as far as they know, Elise could have also just started at Raptor, so I believe both teams will be functioning under minimal knowledge and for the most part just guesswork as to who started on what side, and that means that we'll likely just see an even more passive laning phase to make sure that nobody gets caught out by surprise, as kills going anybody's way in these pickle compositions would mean that their mid-game and entire game plan would fall apart.
I mean, you can already see the route of this Elise from Malrong. It looks like perhaps he wants to hit a quick level 4 because he went blue Gromp Wolves into Raptors. See if he picks up his red and goes for a gank after this.
And just a big farm route there. A lot of the times when both teams don't have any information, there's a good chance that you can actually get yourself ahead as a jungler if you choose to farm as quickly as possible. Go for a recall, get your jungle item, and then start looking for plays. Because if you go for the farm style and the other jungler chooses to try to look for you and he doesn't find anything, you've got a good chance of getting a tempo advantage and then making your ways back onto the map when you have vision and being that much more effective. And with Malrang finishing bottom side, he might be considering counter ganking for bottom lane, but it would be wiser of him to just base, get his quick jungle item, and start finding Rek'Sai.
That will be the play. And you can see that a pretty nice farm route from Ambition. Not quite as big of a clear as Elise literally did every camp on her side.
Both junglers recognize that and actually go for the same purchase. So the mind games were met equally, and now vision is going to be imperative. That's 2 control wards on Malrang, so he's planning on staying out for quite some time, or at least not investing in control wards for a little bit longer. And I think the vision will start to go around bottom side right now. It's already nearing level 6. You got to watch out for the Shen. Chances of ganking Shen have already gone down significantly, so getting vision in the bottom side will protect your thresh lane. That is so important, as well as getting yourself in a position to find Rek'Sai.
That's the idea. So the smite will go over to Ambition, and immediately Malrong just says, nah, I'll back off. There's not much of worth over here, as all the camps have been cleared and it's too deep, but he's actually going to take the plant over and continue to chase Ambition. Cocoon misses here, but a nice chunk of damage. Corjide is nearby, but Ella is too. And that will force Ambition to just back off.
His lanes are pressuring, so he's content in doing this, and his route also allowed him to have red buff for a longer duration than Ambition's, and that also sways this matchup even further.
Yeah, so kind of fun talking about what these two junglers have been doing from the beginning, but all the lanes are just chilling. Not much action here in the beginning.
This is fine for...
Ooh, Ambition. Okay, this might be first blood. He's going to face check right into that cocoon. There's the flash. Repel is not enough, but the flash over the wall, and that's going to do it. Septed takes first blood.
Oh, ambitious. Why are you ambitious?
Oh,
why are you
Devour.
so ambitious?
He's quite ambition.
Oh, why? Why? Gets mirrored and killed right away. The troubles for this jungler have continued to plague him all season long, and they haven't stopped yet. In Rift Rivals, it was the same. And now he gives off a kill to literally the worst person to give a kill to, Cassidy. And he has no reservation on using his flash for that one because he's about to hit level 6. So he's perfectly okay with this. Now he's a kill up, and they're thinking about a dive topside, but Rexa is here. Oh, he gets spotted.
He's going to be spotted. Okay. Let's see if they can do it. Another cocoon onto Ambition. He just can't find any luck. The smite comes out in the flash from Keen, and another kill to take down Ambition.
Oh no, disaster for Samsung, and this is excellent for Ever. Malrang finding Ambition twice.
Oh, look at that, the flash. Here comes Core JJ. Ella with no flash anymore. They're trying to line up this kill. The hook comes in, but it's not enough. And they will line up that kill for Ruler, so a slap back here from
This
Samsung.
bot lane's had enough. They're like, Ambition, you're not going to drag us down. We can do this. Keep it together, man.
What a disastrous early game for Ambition. And I know a bunch of you guys out there are probably asking, what happened to Haru? Kind of asking the same question. But he was the sub. And I suppose nowadays Ambition is performing better, but not on stage, as we're seeing.
Yeah. Just not playing. Okay, well, here we go. Like, it's so bizarre because he also checks in his head. He's like, okay, I want to do the camp, but I also want to help for the dive because initially I'm thinking they might be diving the Shen. So instead of sticking to one thing, he could have either done the doubles from closer to his tower, so he could have seen Elise, or he could have just gone straight to the lane. So not deciding on which one, trying to do both at the same time, gets him killed, and now Cassidy has nearly a Rod of Ages in under 10 minutes, so he's so strong. He just needs to farm for the component, for the recipe gold, goes back, uses his teleport, and he's going to be so strong.
Yeah, it's only 750. It's an easy pickup for Cassidy at this point. Does not have to play safe. You kind of did the anti-caster curse where you called it pretty early on. You're like, well, if he gets ahead, he should be totally fine to just rush that Rod of Ages. And now Malrang getting even more aggressive, saying, your buffs are my buffs.
That's how they have to play. They've got a lead now, and they need to drive it home. It's not going to drive itself. We're not in that yet. You're not in that future just yet.
We're almost there, but not quite.
So Samsung have to do damage control here, so this is fine for them to go for this trade, but Cassidy will continue to farm. Their lead is likely going to have to come from the bottom side. That's where they got some summoners, and they can continue to use Shen to their advantage. It's unlikely that Crown can trade well enough against Cassidy in order to perhaps bait him and use Stand United in the mid lane. And you're not going to be ganking the Renekton anytime soon, as Rexa is already 0-2-0 with no damage items, and Cube, oh, he's dead. This guy is about to die.
All they got to do is line it up with Keen, trying to push underneath turret. We'll see if he can land that stun. Gotta wait for that. Oh, the Cocoon comes out first, and immediately that dodge field comes down. Look at Keen taking all that damage. Doesn't seem to matter, as they do take out the kill. And they are going to trade the Drake here, at least.
Yes, they get a good old trade, but now they're going to lose that first brick. If QA teleports in this, there's a chance he even dies again, but 10 seconds, Samsung might be fancying a dive in the bottom lane with the Stand United. This could be bold, as Cassidy and Renekton also have teleport.
3 seconds, 2 and 1. And it doesn't look like it.
No, ever respect that possibility, and Ella playing Lantern duty, and Duel didn't have his ultimate, so he would have been in serious danger, and an attempt onto the mid lane tower is going to come out instead.
Okay, we got 4 members here. Not much that Cassidy can do, but a teleport from Keen will definitely push the back.
That's just a unnecessary teleport, but nonetheless, they do save the tower, and now Cassidy has completed his Rod of Ages in 10 minutes. So that is a big, big advantage for the side of Ever, and this is really problematic. Legitimately, it's just going to be up to Ruler here. He has shown up as Varus, but it's a tall order when you're dealing with Cassidy and you're a squishy carry, and there's so much damage and crowd control between Thresh, Elise, and Renekton for you to be able to deal with him. The magic damage from Corki does get nullified by Cassidy's kit. Rek'Sai is not in that position to kill anybody, and neither is Shen, so all the eggs go on the Ruler basket, and that's not always the basket you want to put your eggs in.
Recently, it's been a rocky basket, if you will. Eggs breaking every which way. And Malrang, he's really good at this. Blue side Elise, he's always in the right position, getting those ganks down, but he also loves to take early Rift Heralds in.
And this poses a higher question, because before the changes to Rek'Sai came through, Rek'Sai and Elise, we knew that these champions were not meta. We knew that the way that the game was currently played did not fit these picks. And so when a series of buffs came out, it felt like the patch notes were just forcing these champions to be relevant. Please, let's see the play again. Whereas it failed to understand the reason why other picks were important. The early game power, the flexibility, the long-range tools that they have, the itemization that are just so efficient for these picks, the mobilities early from Rek'Sai, from Elise. It's not something that Rek'Sai can do, and as such, we see her snowball a lot of games out of control from her sheer base values, but her utility has gone down. Before, she used to be able to knock up multiple targets, and now it's only one. And that's one of the big downfalls of Rek'Sai, as well as losing her global power. And if she doesn't snowball early, she's relatively useless. Even her tremor sense has been gutted. So the pick that has been made viable just from having higher numbers sees itself useless if it doesn't get ahead.
And this is about as behind as you can get, right? I mean, 0-2-0. You're essentially feeding kills to the one person you don't want to in that Kassadin, and the Elise is doing her job. And with those Moby boots, looking for the play, Ella totally with the whiff. Unfortunately, not able to make that play work.
If you took out the nameplates, I would have thought that was comeback.
We had a bunch of signs in the studio for Ella. It seems like a lot of the fans were happy he was back in the lineup, but a bit of a disappointing play, perhaps.
Well, you don't need to throw at your box before death sentence connects, so oh well.
Definitely not what they wanted here. That would have been really nice for just securing more of a lead, even. And Malrang still has that Rift Herald. You might want to see them push it down mid, as they already have the top turret. They could easily bring Keen down if they wanted to try to go for a dive onto this relatively weak Ambition and Crown.
But they want this red buff, and there's a teleport on Kassadin.
Ooh, nice cocoon. Ambition is going to be locked up, but it looks like they don't want to take this 2v3 just yet. Kassadin a little bit far away. Crown getting very aggressive, almost gets stunned. But now with QV coming down, will they make another attempt? They're coming on in. The cocoon is going to land. This time, Septed is nearby. And with that, Samsung looking to just back off and cede the buff.
Big boss has arrived, so Samsung have to crawl back to their lanes, not having a chance of winning that 3v3 with Elise and Renekton, more than Spike with the completed Runic Echoes and that Black Cleaver. He doesn't even have to burn his Herald here. He's just gonna get killed again.
Oh my, this guy is just gonna, he either gets pushed off the turret or he dies. And you can see he just backs all the way up behind it. And okay, we got a little rotation, but Ambition's like, oh wait, I don't do any damage.
So he pops the Herald to just guarantee the kill on the tower, but Samsung is playing so reactively this time around. They're responding to everything that Ever is throwing at them, and they are incapable of going for action into the bottom side. Look at how low this bottom lane is. They have the stand united, but they would rather try to save their tower as opposed to making an aggressive move themselves. They're worried about the double teleport as well, and being this reactive to a team is not a position you want to be in when you're dealing with a Kassadin that is going to scale out of control.
Definitely have a lot of thinking to do. It kind of seems to me like they're playing like MVP did against Longju, where it's like, oh, I don't really understand their composition. Let me just try not to die here.
Well, and it's more than that too, because if you watching them closely at Rift Rivals and even towards the later stage of round 1 here, they a lot of times rely on the mistakes of enemies. They have been struggling with proactivity before, and you know, when the split begun, there was that interview from Crown in which they were worried that their form might not be at the best, and a lot of us threw it at the side and said, yeah, but how many of these interviews are completely honest, right? A lot of the times, Korean interviews might be just joking around or lost in translation for the meaning, but perhaps this was what Crown was talking about initially when, hey, we might not be at the form that we would like to be, and it's kind of showing.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be some underlying problems, but they're not out of this one entirely yet. They're definitely very far behind. This is the Samsung mentality
It's
where
Kassadin. It's Kassadin.
It is, but this is them just trying to hold on to Ruler. They do have Crown as well on the Corki, so if they do hold on against that Elise or Nectin composition, they definitely have a chance. It's going to be hard, though.
But there's a critical difference between stalling out a game proactively and engaging bottom.
Oh boy, Ruler, he just walked straight into it. CoreJJ, can he save his life? There's the Feather Storm forcing the flash away. Even a teleport coming in from Scepted. Will he make the move? Was thinking about it, but Samsung able to get out of harm's way.
There's also Stand United, so I don't think panic truly set in for Samsung there. Neither Kassadin nor Renekton can make something happen out of that teleport location, but going back to the earlier point, there's a big difference between proactively playing defensive and just purely playing reactively defensive, and that's what Samsung is doing. They're playing reactively defensive here. A proactive defensive team would look to trade when they're weak on one side. It's League of Legends. You don't get to be strong everywhere unless every lane lost, which was not the case. Instead of trying to save that tier 2 with everything that they had topside, which was pretty much nothing, they could have opted to trade a turret. They could have gone for a lane swap. You know, some of the lower teams, BBQ, Rocks Tigers, take incentive, and that incentive stalls you out, gets you in a better position where you trade objectives and get some gold back. But being defensive reactive is just going to get you killed, which might happen here. Okay.
Well, they're being proactive this time around with that smite, but the teleport comes in. The question is, can Samsung get out of dodge? The answer is yes this time around, so at least they're able to pick up a second dragon.
That was a good move by them there. Seeing that the bottom lane had recalled from Ever, they knew they had enough time, and while they do burn their Stand United to go for that play, it does get them something of value. Now, is it the best that they want in terms of just a scaling dragon? Not really. Gold is what matters for this team at this moment, and as well as map control, which only comes in the form of towers, but that ship might have sailed already as Baron is approaching, and between Elise as your main damage dealer for that Baron, if Ever has enough time around it, they can definitely do it, even though they don't have the best Baron composition.
Well, Samsung, they hold on for now. At least they haven't lost this bottom tier 1. Looks like the mid tier 1 is still standing, so they have kind of a stalwart for now along the bottom side of the map, whereas the top side has just been totally pushed in. As I say that, CoreJJ on his stalwart is going to be picked off, and not even getting a chance to use that Greyhell. It just pops like a balloon.
Just gets sliced and diced on that one with the feathers at the end, and Zaya's damage is so unpredictable at times. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, she doesn't do a whole lot, and then out of nowhere, just, oh god.
I feel like it's harder to land those feathers than it looks. I feel like the hitbox on them is smaller than they seem. So you really have to line it up to make sure that they all come through the target that you're actually targeting. So in the heat of the moment, it definitely can be hard to line that up. But Duel seems to be doing pretty well so far.
And so is Septon, which is the big thing to look forward to for Ever here. Now they got a nice rotation to the mid. That's in the net them that tier 1, and this is where the map gets split wide open. This now opens up control around Baron's side. The bottom tier 1 is almost killed already, and now we can see Ever going for a 1-3-1. That's what's most likely going to happen. We can see Kassadin still in the mid lane as he can assist the side lanes with ease, but they need to get to a point where you have the dual lane in mid so that they can start acquiring control of that side, getting some deep vision. You need the support in that side of the map for you to start considering Baron as a threat. If Samsung is going to play this passively, then you do have an opportunity to just say, well, let's just see how they're going to respond to us moving around Baron. And if they say, oh, I guess they're not moving at all, go ahead and start it. You could have the slowest Baron composition, but if you're uncontested, it's no big deal. But they are going to fight for this tier 1 as Elise and Cassidy are coming to River.
Look at Zaya getting extremely low. Varus does get eaten up. All of a sudden, Crown, we get the zoom out. He's going 1v2, getting caught out big time. And now Cortez just going to use Abyssal Voyage to get out, just leaving Ruler alone. Double kill over to the Cassidy, who is now 3-0.
They don't even use the Stand United to try to save anybody. This one has just gone from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds here. Ever is running away with this, and I don't think that Samsung is in any position to stop this bleeding. It seems like a huge hemorrhage here for them as gold just keeps going to the side of Ever, and that's a 3-0 Kassadin, and we kind of saw this coming, donating first blood to Kassadin, and then another freebie to the Elise and Renekton top side, kind of point us in that direction.
10-minute Rod of Ages is a pretty good item, I've heard.
I would be baffled if Hari does not get subbed in.
I mean, I hope so, man. I'm feeling it, but doesn't seem like Samsung is on the same page with a lot of us.
They're committing here, but Crown just gets he face checks, and yeah, that's how you die. Face checking. Ambition did it. Crown did it. Everyone's doing it. Why aren't you doing peer pressure?
Runs in the family, man. They're all doing it. I mean, you know that there must be some help rotating down. You can't just face check a brush where there's no vision, especially when you see on the map that those two members are gone.
Yeah, and that's a Moby's Elise and a highly mobile Kassadin as well between his Roa, level 2 Riftwalk, and completed tier 2 boots. And now he's thinking about that third itemization. With that Fiendish Codex, I believe Azania's would probably be the best choice here. Helps you engage. Helps you dodge out of a lot of the crowd control that Samsung has to bring. You can avoid the chains of corruption. You can easily see the taunt coming and use that ability as well. And it buys you time to get out of a sticky situation when you wait for the cooldown of your Riftwalk. So the synergy is there, and frankly, going for a Banshees just feels too safe.
Marong is just relentless with his presence on the map. I mean, he loves getting that early Mobies whenever he gets an early lead, and he makes it work for him. Whenever Ambition tries to make his presence known, Marong is just like, nah, you don't matter in this game anymore.
He made his presence known, all right. It was known.
It was very obvious where he was, exactly how to kill him, I suppose. But Malrang has just been all over this veteran jungle and making it look really easy. The young taking over the old here on the Rift, and this looks like even worse than the first time that Samsung played against.
You know, people have said
Ever8.
that so many times, and Ambition does have his moment here and there, but when he shows up, he plays well. We just happen to be seeing him in one of those lows. A low. Low.
Down in the depths. Hopefully he turns it around. I mean, the Rek'Sai pick made sense. You just got destroyed early game. From there, it's really hard to make a comeback. He does pick up the Knight's Vow. I mean, this is pretty much the build that we see from almost every Rek'Sai nowadays, but it does make sense, especially for the position that he's into. You just got to enable some of your carries on your team.
Oh, absolutely. If he could switch every item to a supportive item, that would be the choice for Rek'Sai. Remember, her utility is no longer there, or nearly as valuable.
Yeah, I mean, you got some good damage early, but if you can't do much early at all, then you just kind of have to let it go.
Okay, they're looking to dive Cuvée.
Okay, here comes the dive, and does get the double taunt, but still on the chase. They're going deep for this one. You can see Cuvée still with a lot of health. Oh, I spoke too soon. Does melt a bit. Here comes Ruler. And Septid's like, really? You want to fight?
Yeah.
You want to go?
No, they can't take that one. They're still a Stand United. But curiously enough, a lot of the times you'd see Kassadin be able to completely mow you down and take you out of that fight, but there's not enough spells between these 3 champions. Shen just taunts away, doesn't have to burn a whole lot. He's not a spamming ability champion. Neither is Renekton after he blows his initial combo, so they can't fully commit, but he's committed to killing Crown. Let's see if Stand United comes out. Nope. Farming minions.
Yeah, more and more minions, saving turrets, and denying gold. Maybe even more importantly, saying, okay, not a single turret to use, Samsung.
Oh, but they took an abyssal voyage to try to, I guess, protect Crown. They're all over the place, Samsung.
The more I watch this team, I feel like your prediction is slowly coming through.
I'm telling you, I think Longju, if the trajectory, if the graphs stay the way they are, if the numbers are telling me what they're telling me, then I think Longju will be that 3rd seed. But
Samsung, for the first time, dipped out of first place.
Gauntlet is always that X factor, right? We have had years where, against all odds, Najin was able to beat everybody, even SKT and I believe KT as well in that tournament. So still anything can happen, but you mostly stick to the biggest probability. You just Occam's razor it all.
Yeah, I mean, if we see this Samsung up against Longju, I think Longju definitely would take the win.
Oh, yeah.
Like just, I mean, we had both of the teams playing today.
Okay, well, but we don't want to go too far down the drain, right? Like a big part of why Samsung has been looking this way is it's a consistent thing. When we saw Longju, they had a game 1 that was in a way similar to this, not quite as bad, but we give them the benefit of the doubt for game 2. And similarly, we can give Samsung some benefits of the doubt for this kind of play, except Ambition. You definitely don't accept that one.
No exceptions for him.
But they've just this has been their way of play, and that's what's concerning for this team. I want to see them do well. You know, after Worlds, I was like, wow, this team was, where did they come from? So hyped. So many of these players are doing so many good moves. Even I was an old teammate with Core JJ. I want to see them do well, but not like this.
Not like this. Oh, they definitely.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Chain of Corruption into the wind, just like a kite that was let go of.
I threw it on the ground on that one.
That would have been an interesting play if, like, someone started the Baron and then he takes a bunch of damage, but it just seems like desperation.
Well, it just shows the pressure that Ever is able to put on Samsung that makes them make those moves. It's not that Ruler would normally do that. It's that they're in a position where, hey, we have no vision anywhere. We have no idea what they could be doing. Let's give it a go, and now they're going to give Baron a go.
Zero vision in the jungle, but I think Samsung, they have a good feel about this. We're going to need the steal. Ambition has to come up big. Septic goes over the wall, trading a bit with Crown, but Ambition going in really early. Stand United, and he gets hooked, and oh no! Ambition going down. Keen going 1v3, and that's going to be the easiest Baron for Ever8 as the woes of Samsung continue.
Yep. All right. We're definitely getting Haru next game. I
think so.
Yeah. But they get spotted because when they bounced over, they were actually attacking the Baron while they hit the ward. Like, they walked right on the ward. You do have a bit of vision, like, literally on top of the ward. So they get spotted out, but, like, what's the point of going? At this point, Samsung's best bet is going for a 50-50. They're not taking any fight. Ambition's move there needs to be waiting outside, looking for a steal. That is the only thing that Samsung can go for. It's actually in their best interest for Ever to be in that position. But instead, they somehow think that engaging over the wall is a good idea and just get killed immediately.
I think he just must have mistimed it, like, horrendously, saying, like, oh,
well,
it must be
super
flash.
Low. He still has flash. You got to remember that Thresh can always flame out, like, his move, but they're looking for Elise.
Okay, they do get this catch here. Malron getting extremely low, but doesn't go down. They can't even get one more kill.
Close. That pick would have been huge in hindering Ever's Baron push.
But as it stands now, because they don't get him, they can easily group up Ever8. They still have 2 minutes left here to go for this, and they're looking pretty solid from ahead. You know, keep in mind, guys, Ever8 is in 10th place, and they're defeating Samsung, who is currently in, I think it's 3rd right now. Second or third?
Second. Second place.
So, I don't know. They're looking on top. I mean, it really started from the jungle, started from that Elise Renekton too, that combination, and also getting this Kassadin ahead.
I mean, you can't sugarcoat it. Ambition just gave it away. Like, you know, as a team, the passiveness from Samsung has been a big part of why they're in this position. But realistically, if you want to pinpoint it and think, all right, how things would have been differently if this didn't happen, it was Ambition beating. Like, well, sometimes you can't point fingers, right? A lot of times you really can't do that. A lot of times the team effort is, but this time the individual mistake was just so odd. Unless somebody told him, do this now, or, you know, I'll rage quit or something.
We'd hope that wasn't happening.
It was him.
I mean, he led to the picks as well, so.
But also, Ever has been playing quite well with the gift that they got, right? Like, they got that gift, and Malrang and Keen have been diving lanes. They've been going for dragons. They've been getting Rift Heralds. They've been proactive. They've been responding to what Samsung tries to throw at them. So Ever have been playing quite well here. 31 minutes, sitting at a 12,000 gold lead. You really couldn't have asked for something better. 1 kill away, and sure, 2 dragons have gone to the side of Samsung, but for all intents and purposes, dragons don't offer map control. That's all that Ever have right now.
Okay, the double push coming in, and actually Duel getting locked up here, not able to get out, doesn't have his Featherstorm available, and finally Samsung get another pick here to keep their hopes alive. And, well, I mean, we're 31 minutes in and still no inhibitor turrets coming down. So, a little bit of hope, a tiny little spark of hope in the eyes of Samsung.
11,000 gold down. That's like
okay, you put out the spark.
That's like being in a coach, flying coach, and thinking, one day I'll fly first class, and then you type it in, how much is first class? And you're like, yep, not gonna happen. I did that the other day. A ticket from here to LA is like maybe $500 one way. First coach. You know how much it is in first class?
Must be like $1,500, right?
Like $4,000.
Really?
Yeah. Between
like 28.
Yeah.
You can tell that I don't fly first class. But I mean, with that 1 kill, Samsung do get 2 turrets. As long as they don't die, which we'll see if that happens. We do see that they do miss that death sentence, but look at coming from behind. The teleport actually does get canceled from Septed. So Samsung able to pick up 1 kill and 2 turrets. They get that 11,000 gold down to about 9.5.
I want to commend that decision to cancel the teleport. I actually think it was a good idea to not pull the trigger on that. Realistically, the ground that they would have had to cover for that engage would have been in the benefit of Samsung. They still have all their summoners up, barring ambitions, but at this point, that one doesn't matter. Hold a ruler. Okay.
Good read by Septed. I mean, he doesn't really see anyone else, and Crown was right behind him.
I don't think that Septed can be looking for any 1v1s in this game. You have Stand United. Ruler still has both his summoners, and Varus can choose just not to use any abilities to not give more force pulses over to Septed. With auto attacks and crit, heals and lifesteal, it's too much to handle. That's why I was saying earlier that Varus is going to be the key for Samsung to come back in this game. He's going to be their main DPS in dealing with Kassadin. If he can get a couple of autos without getting jumped on himself, that'll be ideal if they are to stay in this game and have a fighting chance. But with a 10,000 gold deficit, it is a difficult thing. Ambition.
Big hook onto Ambition. He does get eaten up. And look at Kane actually in the front taking a ton of damage, but Septed is the scary one. Can they burst him down? The answer is yes. They get 1 pick. Now Keen trying to go 1v4. Can they get another one? Xayah able to lock up a lot of members, so no further chase from Samsung. And all of a sudden, again, Ever8, they can't get an inhibitor.
They're getting desperate there, and Samsung is responding well. Ambition has now been delegated into bait. He just sits there, gets everybody from Ever to jump on him, and they fall for it. He's 0-3. He's not worth it. He's literally invaluable to this game anymore. He's just a knockup. So every time that they focus him, it's a signal for Samsung to go further. And now they get some control around Baron. They take a blue buff, and if they can clean out some of the vision, plant some of their own, they'll be in a good position. We'll take another look.
Look at this. It's not just the bait of Ambition.
He's looking for Varus, but hooks Ambition in. As soon as Kin runs out, Septed also gets greedy, but using Azanias right away, you gotta give QV the credit that he's at least gonna be able to dodge out.
Yeah, I mean, it's
taunt you.
You gotta know what you're going up against, right? The Tom Kench was right there, Core JJ with the immediate devour, and all of a sudden you see Septed just run in alone 1v5. And definitely, I think it was more the mistakes of Ever8 going way too deep instead of playing patiently and not diving.
It's interesting to see them fall apart or not go for a 1-3-1 here that would be working effectively. I mean, as soon as the teleport got used from Septed, that might have been the reason why they wanted to go for that. Or it could also have been that Samsung gave up some of the mid control, so they saw a window into that mid tier 1, which in the end they did walk away with the tower, so it's not a complete loss, but that 12,000 gold lead is now only 9,000, so Samsung is definitely still fighting their way into this, but it seems like it's come at the cost of Ever's mistakes.
Yeah. If you're Ever, you got to understand that you're ahead. Don't be diving. Just be a little bit patient. You got this extremely fed Kassadin. You got the Xayah in the back, now with the Bloodthirster. Definitely has a lot of ways to survive. Just try to pick at them.
Remember that Samsung can't get unengaged themselves. You have Lantern to help you out. It's only really Duel that can get caught out that easily. Kassadin always has the opportunity to escape. Shen is not going to kill anybody into the side lane, so they need Ever to jump into them for them to win these fights.
Oh, Chain of Corruption. Nice Lantern there by Ella on top, just reading the play from Ruler. And now things should get exciting. There should be some forced fights because Elder Drake is on the map, Baron is on the map, Duel's taking a lot of poke damage already.
He's got BT though. He's fine on the way. Look, he's full. He's back to full.
There you go. Never mind. The play-by-play coming through. But again, lots of objectives on the map for both these teams to go for. I still feel like Ever8, with the lead, if they can play it smart, they should be able to secure at least one of them.
Yeah, this game is theirs. If they lose, if Samsung wins, it's because Ever lost. Like, this advantage should not result in a loss in any scenario.
Yeah, and Ever, they're trying to make it work.
Oh,
they're starting the Baron. Okay, here we go. Prey Seeker coming on in. And, okay, there seems to be some miscommunication as Malron goes in as the rest of them pull out. And Septed's, he's just recalling. He's not even part of this play.
It's that youth in the league that's coming in right now. Getting a little bit nervous. Oh, we had this lead. What's going on? Why can't we close? It's 40 minutes now. We know we're really far ahead. What's going on? They need to be getting vision, control of the lanes first. They started that Baron without a single ward on the side of Samsung. They need to be more cautious and prepared when they go for these fights. And now the itemization for Samsung is about to complete. That's 4 items onto Ruler already. Corki's already at 3.5. So they're quite potent. And this is not a team fighting composition from Ever. They need to be going for that 1-3-1. You saw how easily they were able to melt through Kassadin, and now their ping's going onto the inhibitor, but Samsung's going to get there. You have Abyssal Voyage if you really want to defend this. Corki's coming into with a base.
They're trying to run back as fast as possible. Septed already getting to work onto that inhibitor. Will they commit? Ambition, a little bit scary. Duel coming on in. Keen now, they're not going to get the inhibitor yet. They do get the hook, but immediate devour there. In goes Keen, 1v5. Can they chunk him down? It doesn't really look like it. Ambition extremely tanky at this point in time. And now Septed jumping in alone, not able to get over there, and he's almost going to go down. The Zhonya saves him in the back, but Ruler with the snipe onto that Kassadin, and another botched dive for Ever8 as they cannot find success in this game.
Oh, they are getting so close, but there's just so far. It seems apparent that they have no idea how to close this advantage, and it's just so sad to see.
Ruler, he's taken what Ever8's given him. He's like, okay, you want to go for this? Sure. And now taking out Septed, he was the most fed guy on that lineup. They're very comfortable to go for this Baron.
Oh, this is a freebie. They didn't even put themselves in that position to give it away. Oh my God, if Samsung wins this.
the disgust of every analyst caster
You
across the globe.
12,000 gold lead on Kassadin. Oh, on the Kassadin comp. And now you're gonna lose Elder Dragon as well.
Yeah, going for one. I mean, we're getting to a point now where it's 60-second death timers, full minute death timers. So if you get picked, your team's gonna have trouble without you.
They even showed that they knew what they had to do. The Kassadin went to dive the Shen with the Renekton. Bam, easy. You do it again. You rinse and repeat. You attack the Shen. He's left alone. You keep doing that. You get an inhibitor turret. You get the inhibitor. You saw with the Lich Bane how much damage Kassadin can deal to the tower, but a brain freeze, a brain fart, whatever you want to call it, this was just atrocious. They're trying to go for this. And look at what happens. The hooks can go, they keep blowing everything onto Ambition. Septa doesn't have his combo anymore because he used it on the tanks. Look at that. Who does he use it on? Oh, he wants to go in the back line here, but he's going in by himself. You don't have enough damage to take down anybody. This is not a team fighting composition. They will lose these fights every single time, and they have yet to learn it, and they feel like they are going to learn the hard way by losing this game.
You guys remember when Jax was really far ahead in the Longju MVP series, how they just threw him in a lane and said, I dare anyone to try to come fight me. Well, they could have done something similar as you're talking about with Septid, but they decided against it. And now he's going against an Elder Drake buffed Cuvée, who does have Double Dragon on the side, so it's decently strong, and now he's at a spot where he can't even fight him.
I actually have a feeling this one's over. I think Samsung's got this in the bag.
It just seems like they fell apart, Ever8, and Samsung, they held on enough. Their experience comes through throughout all the mistakes.
Screw that, this experience. No, this is not experience.
I'm saying compared to Ever8, okay? Because Ever8 was not able to use whatever experience they had to make this happen.
Don't say experience. They're just giving it away. Oh, how far can you get before you throw it right back? They just got handed. This is like when MVP got 2-0'd by Afrika, where they're so far ahead, and somehow it's like Afrika, oh, I guess we won this game. Yeah, this is what's happening.
Well, Samsung still has Baron left, and they're going to go for one final push.
It's a 2,000 goal. It's been like 10 minutes that it shrunk from 12 to 2. And the AD carries are at full build. Xayah is not a crazy late game carry. She's not going to be able to deal with Corki and Varus. Their poke is too strong. Their crits are too high. Kassadin can't do anything. He doesn't have his death cap. He hasn't had a new item for like 10 minutes already. Renekton has already fallen off. You've got Tam Kench, who's too tanky, that can protect everybody. And they know that Ever just wants to keep fighting 5v5 when it just falls right on their lap.
I mean, Ever8, they had about 20 minutes to end this one, but as you said, they didn't really know how to do it. And this is the outcome. There seems to be like silence in the studio as people cannot believe what has happened in this game.
It's like when you're a team that is in that position, when you do your scrims, you're like, all right, guys, so we're losing scrims in 10. We're losing scrims in 15, 20, 30. You learn how to get past the early game, but nobody teaches you how to close.
Well, they're going to try to stand up here. And again, everybody's going for ambition. They're trying to take him down. The stand united. But again, Keen in the back line is not going to be able to take any of them out. Ambition, he can go down. It doesn't matter. Septid, though, still pretty strong. Looking to slow, at least. With that Force Pulse coming on in. Cuvée does miss that taunt onto anyone. Ella, though, does get caught in the back, and that will be it for Duel as well, as there's no more security. Septid now 1v4. Can he get the taunt? Looks like he does. That's going to do it. Samsung is going to win this game in 45 minutes. This is why their
record is good. What?
They take the win. A win's a win, even if that means that the other team lost. So game one will go over to Samsung.
Oh, no. This was a terrible display of League of Legends. Oh, Jesus. Look at it. Yeah.
They're like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You can see that ambition. He's really feeling it.
Thank you, Jesus, for this one.
I'm curious to see how Ever8 looks at this point, because you got to feel bad for them. Like, they're trying so hard.
No, I don't feel bad for them.
I feel bad for them.
How do you? You can't feel bad. That's inexcusable.
Because they're a new team to LCK, and as you said, they're not used to this situation. So
Well, 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
You're a
so
pro
they
team. You
they
watch
can't
VODs.
close it out.
No. Like, can't close out is like you have 4,000, 6,000. I could see that, right? If they can't close out with 6, I could get that. But 12, it was handed on a silver platter.
Yeah, I mean, but still, League is a game where if you're going up against Samsung's composition, all it takes is a couple of mistakes, 2, 3, 4 mistakes, and all of a sudden, the game that was once yours is no longer.
You're too nice.
I don't know. I feel like this team.
Like, there's no, you're a pro team. I feel like there is no excuse. This was, they even, the thing is, they even showed that they understood 1-3-1. Go to the side lanes, target the side lanes. They understood that concept, but they didn't follow through with it.
There was a time in the game where they just gave up on that. It was working so well, and maybe it was when they got the Baron or something, and they tried to go as a 5-man push or something, but maybe we can see in these replays.
Yeah, look at how free this was. They got a free Baron.
It was after this Baron.
Yeah, Ambition donates himself, and from this point onwards, they're like, yeah, this one's over. Ever's going to be able to do this. Up to this point, this was an immaculate game from them. It was going so well, and we were led to believe it's going to go further, and this is where it all started. Duel didn't have his ultimate here. Gets caught out by Ruler. The ultimate just gets him killed. Stalls out the Baron push, and ever since this point, this is where it all started to go downhill. They're like, all right, keep focusing the tanks. Kassadin's over there by himself. Nobody else is doing DPS, so you're going to lose these fights. You can't 5v5. And Samsung have no problem just saying, oh, you want to fight on our turf, on our win conditions? All right, yeah, we'll do it. And here it is again. That's Renekton stepping up. What gets chained on with the stun? Nothing. Where is Duel attacking, hitting tanks? Nobody's hitting anything. Like, this is...
Mistakes abound for this team, no question about it.
It's just the size of the lead that's the part that I find unacceptable.
Well, I'm sure Kongdu is licking their lips down in Challenger right now, saying, I can't believe this team made it through instead of us.
This final fight, like, they're still kind of losing that fight because you look at how Samsung was playing. They were diving forward. When they were diving forward, their formation falls apart. It gave a window for Ever to try to claw back into this game, but the damage that Ruler pumps out is much higher than anybody else's, and he's going to be able to just flash in and bam, bam, 3 hits. Duel almost goes down, but he's able to trade a ton of damage back onto him because he got some time, but with the engages that Ever went for, he never got a chance to go for it, and now they lose, and deservedly so.
Yeah, that is for sure. I mean, you could even see the coaches in the Samsung booth. They looked more frustrated than the Ever8 coaches, who just looked like flabbergasted. But the Samsung coach was like almost going at it with Crown, saying, you know, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to be here. And it's because Samsung, they should hold themselves to a higher standard. They shouldn't have let themselves get to a 12,000 gold deficit. So both of these teams are going to have to go back to the drawing board, and this is one way to do it. Throw in Haru. I think it's no question who's going to be coming in for the sub. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.